Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Justice League Unlimited issue 14 by Mark Waid, Dan Mora and Tamara Bonvillain. Mr. Terrific's quest into hell continues with the Terrific 10 as the team find themselves in a pitch black void, the only light emanating from Superman Blue. Unable to see where to go, Superman Blue fires out a bolt of his bioelectrical powers and reveals the extent of hell, which is a writhing, squishy mess of wailing corpses. Dan Mora is doing some really great stuff in these opening pages alongside Tamara Bonvillain's colours, which the work relies on wholly as it's all depicted in shadows and an eerie blue light, which is kind of the opposite of how Mora usually works since his stuff is usually quite bright and colourful. The heroes move away from the souls of the damned and Aquaman begins to sense water nearby and the team finds Charon, the ferryman of the dead, waiting to take them across the river Styx. Thanks to Mr. Terrific running the team, he has come prepared, revealing to the team that he has brought payment in the form of coins, even having some extras since not all the team made it into hell, with the likes of Warrior and Power Girl getting killed in the last issue. As the Terrific 10 navigate hell, Red Tornado gathers the remaining League members on an Alpha alert, wanting the heroes to get ready to finish the Earth evacuation, which is sitting at 94%. But also deal with the final conclave of supervillains which have fallen under Neron's command, since they are trying to prevent the evacuation, which Kid Flash, Martian Manhunter and Dr. Occult are trying to battle in Oklahoma City. Wade continuously bringing Manhunter and Dr. Occult back is just a very fun and cool duo. It's one that you never really expect to be put together, a Martian and a really old 1940s detective who uses magic. They have similarities in that they both have been private investigators in one way or another, but apart from that, they're just like complete opposites, but they work really well together. And Wade seeing that and building out a story with them, especially in the opening issues of Justice League Unlimited, was really great. And I like that they continue to be a little team within the bigger team. Tornado reveals that the Quantum Quorum have asked for the exclusive use of the Watchtower, so all remaining heroes will assemble at the League's lunar outpost where the Titans are coordinating the evacuation. Okay, so I love that Wade has actually thought some of this through and has the heroes all wanting to leave the Watchtower, so then we can have that Booster Gold interlude happen where he's been fighting the Quantum Quorum, stuff we've seen in the All Fight Month books. And that gets to happen unimpeded because obviously, if you know, the heroes are here working and then there's like, oh, why aren't they coming to help? Blue Beetle and Elongated Man get ready to take a team to help Kid Flash and Manhunter, but the boom tube gets deactivated before they can use it. Back in hell, Charon denies Terrific's team passage across the river Styx since the coins Michael offered are impersonal, not coins given to the dead by those who mourn them, so they may not cross. This feels like a Mr. Terrific plan, like, oh, well, he's heard that Charon accepts coins, so he will give coins. He doesn't understand the meaning behind them because to him it's not logical. And I like that the logic to him is, oh, that he just takes coins, so here are some coins. I quite like that. I like that he hasn't actually thought it through. Now, at a point like this, there would probably some sort of plan or fetch quest would happen, but instead, the heroes each give up an item they have an attachment to, with Batman giving one of his Batarangs, Owl Woman her cryo gun, Goldhawk his nth metal medallion, Dr. Fate her learned braces, and Aquaman his golden hook. Unfortunately, Superman Blue and Mr. Terrific don't have anything they can give save for body parts, but Charon knows that they can give small pieces of their spirit, with the boatman taking Michael's fair play tattoos, knowing that he's always stood for fairness and equality, but he will know more. This is a great swerve from the simple fetch quest I figured this would turn into, and Wade immediately going into the heroes just giving up their own personal items is great. There's no big speech to try and come up with a plan or the team trying to formalize a plan, they just knew what the deal was and immediately went for it. Terrific also having to give up his rules of fair play, like he cannot do that anymore because he's given that part of himself up, is interesting, and I hope Wade does something fun and interesting with it, like he begins, I don't know, cheating at things or making even more cold and calculating decisions. Superman Blue is the last left and Charon wants from him something quite surprising, telling the hero that he wants Superman's hope, what he is best known for, even in hell. Aquaman becomes angered since Superman is their beacon of hope and is everything the hero has, so how are they expected to navigate hell without his inspiration? Clark is okay with it, allowing Charon to rip his hope from his soul, asking the hero that while the others claim to need him, he wants Superman to tell him what he has in his soul now. Superman feels nothing but emptiness, finding everything to be meaningless. Superman who has had his hope ripped out of his soul is an interesting take on the hopeless Superman trope that we've seen time and time again. I don't think it's been done this way though. Like in this way, it's being used as a morale hit to the team who all looked up to Superman to help guide them through hell, and now they don't have that anymore, so things will probably end up going badly for them. As Charon begins his journey across the river Styx with the heroes, Kid Flash and his team race to Oklahoma City, met by Mary Marvel, who managed to get off the Watchtower before the boom tubes went down. Tornado tells Wallace that he can't send any more heroes, meaning they're on their own as the team bash their way through a magical barrier that is around the city, remembering how this is meant to be the most treacherous spot on the planet. Instead, however, the team find a very Pleasantville-esque perfect suburb, one that is free from the ravages of what is happening outside on Earth. The team find they are out front of a big green church, and upon entering it, they find a mysterious hooded being holding court, telling his followers that the angel Neron will help protect them in the face of Armageddon. The magical lean this book is taking for the League during the KO event is an interesting one. I'm a fan of it, since it always feels like the Justice League fight more sci-fi, cosmic threats, alien invasions, villains using big tech weapons or something, but they do have their fair share of magical villains, and I feel like they are always fairly underutilized. So I like that Wade is bringing him out here, bringing out Neron and some of his magical cronies and doing something interesting with them. One of the followers of the hooded man tells him that he is ready to be blessed, and the leader grabs the man, proclaiming that he is forever saved as his soul is ripped from his body, leaving the man a depressed husk of his former self. Kid Flash speeds at the hooded leader, punching him in the face and knocking his hood off, revealing that it's Atomic Skull. Manhunter uses his telepathic powers to tell everyone in the church that Atomic Skull is no savior and they need to leave, but the people clearly left without their souls don't move a budge and don't really seem to care. I'm still a little salty that Atomic Skull went back to being a villain after he was set out as a reformed villain trying to be a hero, since that arc he was put on was just so compelling, and it led to some really great little interactions with him and Superman trying to actively help and teach him the ropes of being a hero, and then that just kind of all just went away. I guess writers just weren't interested in doing that with Atomic Skull maybe, or they just needed him to be a villain again. It just kind of sucks that he's back to being kind of like a lackey. Mary Marvel demands that Atomic Skull surrender, but there is a huge explosion as the church is obliterated by the arrival of the Holy Army of Neron, made up of Electrocutioner, Sabak, Slipknot, and Cyanide, who have been sent to kill the Justice League. Back in Hell, we get a bit more of a moment to learn more about the Terrific 10, with Goldhawk suffering from some kind of mild claustrophobia thanks to the constricting darkness of Hell, since his race is used to being able to be free in the wide open skies. The heroes begin to talk about the concept of death and the afterlife in their various cultures, and how the Thanagarians believe they are meant to drift through violent winds, not placid waters. Dr. Fate knows that it's common on Earth to cross a river into the afterlife, talking about how the Norse have to cross a bridge over a river called the River of the Howling. Aquaman remembers the Buddhists call their river the Sanzu, and the Mesopotamians call it the Huber, and the Finns call it the Tuonellan Verta. I like that the heroes, being from various backgrounds, allows us to have this great moment of kind of world history and how every group views the afterlife and how very similar they are, adhering to the core concepts of crossing a river or sailing over water, crossing over a threshold. Charon thinks that the Goldhawk's description of the river being placid is very wrong, as they are soon attacked by giant sea monsters that throw small eel-like creatures at the heroes, coiling around them and constricting their movements. Aquaman leaps into action, not knowing if he can control these creatures or not, but he vows to do his best. After disappearing into the dark water, Arthur bursts from the depths atop one of the sea monsters, demanding that the team sail away and he'll follow after. Dr. Fate refuses to leave, since that's how they lost the other members of the team, and she doesn't want to leave Aquaman behind. Arthur tries to force control over the monster, demanding that it give in to him as it dives under the waves again, but not for long, as Arthur bursts from the water, having ripped the creature apart. Mr. Terrific thinks that this is going to be an easy challenge, and he definitely spoke too soon, as Arthur is soon stabbed through the back by one of the sea monsters, dragged below the waves as the boat reaches the other side of the river. So Wade set up last issue and the issue before about how these time-displaced heroes can die, since the universe is currently sectioned off from the multiverse, and these are kind of like quantum ghosts where they do exist, but they also don't exist. They're not really the actual real person from that part of the timeline. They're an echo of them. So these people can and certainly will die, and especially in very horrible, gruesome, unceremonious deaths. And I quite like that. I like that it puts like a bit of a body count on the scoreboard. You know, they're not just going to get through this entire mission without losing a single person. I would not be surprised if this entire arc ends with Mr. Terrific being the only one left, being that he is actually from this timeline and is not time displaced. Mr. Terrific tells the team that Arthur knew what the mission was, so he doesn't want them to die in vain. Back in the Watchtower, Blue Beetle figures out the boom tubes stopped working not because of the machinery itself, but from interference from something else. The tower's lights go out and Beetle contacts the Challengers of the Unknown, who have been helping him try and fix the boom tube. And the team tells him that they have overtaxed the tower's generators, since they aren't just powering the Watchtower, they are also sharing power with the evacuation sites, and it's become too much for everything from the Titan's towers to the teleporters, and now they have all begun to fail. The Prof knows that they need to sort this out fast, as the power going out is the least of their problems, as Mr. Terrific's team is falling apart and Kid's Flash team is falling to the Holy Army of Neron. This is a great place to end the book, a big cliffhanger ending that puts all of the teams on the back foot against the various threats, some of which aren't actually supervillains, but are natural disasters or problems like, a power outage that the team have to overcome. It's why I found this book quite refreshing, since they do get the villain fights, but that's not all the book is. There's an equal number of other things the heroes have to deal with in a world as large as the DC universe. Natural disasters, problems between people and nations, all that sort of stuff is covered in this book, and I quite like that. And it makes Wade use various heroes and not just a core team. He has to do like what we've seen here, teams involving Kid Flash and Dr. Occult, or Superman Blue and Batman Beyond. It's just really interesting and really refreshing that it's not just a small core team, it's every hero more or less. Justice League Unlimited issue 14 balanced out its three plots very nicely and pushed them all into a position where the heroes are now on the back foot for varying reasons. I really like the depiction of hell Wade has brought us here, specifically Charon and how he takes payment to cross the river Styx, and how it's not just the classic coin that many people in history seem to think it is. I'm looking forward to Wade also catching up to the main DCKO storyline, since we just saw Earth become New Apocalypse, and what does that mean for the heroes stuck on and inside Earth, since it can't be anything good for them, but I'm very excited to find out what he has in store for us. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10.